Hello, everyone. Hi, and welcome to my summer tarot party. So welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. I see there's some comments in the chat here. So hello, welcome Lisa, Meredith, Jackie, Zenya, Sarah, Jessica, Richard, Arlene. Hey, everyone. All right. So Richard, you said you've never tried tarot before, but you'd love to give it a whirl. Hello, Claire. All right, so my name is Kate. I'm also known as the Daily Tarot Girl, and every now and then I do one of these live streams. I haven't done one for a really long time, it feels like. It feels like it's been several months, actually. So I'm going to start off by sharing with you guys my number one tarot tip. And this is a tarot tip regardless of whether or not you're brand new to tarot or whether you've been studying tarot for a really long time. So I'm going to share my number one tarot tip, and then I'm going to open it up for Q&A, so you can ask me any questions you want about learning tarot, about doing readings. And I'll also be doing free one-card tarot readings for anyone who wants one. So welcome, Sophie and Laura S. Maureen. Hey, everyone. All right. All right, already some good questions. Okay, so I will get going. I'll get started. How's everyone doing? How's everyone's summer going? Is it hot where you are? It's I think it's about 30 degrees where I am. I'm in Canada, and we're having a bit of a heat wave. And it's pretty brutal, but luckily I do have a heat pump. So I'm able to stay nice and cool, which is which is really nice. All right, so I'll start off by sharing my number one tarot tip. I guess I could also call it my number one tarot secret. So my number one tarot secret is to keep a tarot journal. Now, there's two reasons for me choosing this as my number one tip. So the first reason is that this has been the one thing that has been a constant for me in my tarot journey. And it's one thing that has really changed my relationship to the cards over time. The other reason is that I have just released a brand new course on tarot journaling, and I kind of want to give it a little bit of a plug. Full disclosure. So I have a new course that's available called Tarot Journaling for Soul Explorers, and I'm doing that course through Tarot Summer School. And if you haven't heard of Tarot Summer School, you're not sure what it is, it's put on by the Tarot Readers Academy, so by Ethany Dawn, and it's 12 different teachers, different tarot teachers, and we've come together, and each tarot teacher has created a different course on a different topic. And so you can choose to get a season's pass and you get all the courses for one price, or you can just pick and choose what courses you want to do. And it's very affordable, and it's a lot of fun. I've been doing a lot of the other courses from some of the other teachers, and I just love the variety, and I love how each teacher has like a different style of teaching. Everyone has a different vibe, a different personality. So I'm really finding that a lot of fun. So I'll put a link here to my course if you want to check it out. I'm just going to put the link in the chat here. All right. So I want to tell you a little bit about tarot journaling because it's so simple. All you need is a blank notebook, a pen, and a deck of cards. And you don't need any experience or prior knowledge about tarot in order to start a tarot journal. You just have to want to do a tarot journal. So there's different ways of tarot journaling. How I like to do it, though, is and of course, my course gives you tons of different ideas and different prompts and things like that. But I find that in doing tarot journaling, it created a shift for me in my tarot practice. So when I first discovered tarot, for the first year or two, I was kind of obsessed with just doing readings. And I thought that that's how I was going to get good at reading tarot, is just by giving tons and tons of readings. And I did get better. I did a lot of practicing. I read for myself a lot, and I did get better. But my readings were never like I just always felt like there's something missing. Like there's something I'm not totally getting. They weren't totally satisfying. And then I got this book. It's a great book. It's a Mary Kay Greer book called Tarot for Yourself. And I actually don't remember if she talks about tarot journaling specifically in here, but this book gave so many different exercises and ways to work with the tarot that weren't necessarily reading tarot, like weren't necessarily giving a reading. And that just totally opened my eyes to the fact that, you know, there's so many different ways you can work with the cards. It doesn't always have to be a tarot reading. And so I found that making that shift and starting my tarot journal was a way for me to actually truly get to know my cards and make my, how do I say this? I guess like in the beginning, I was all about trying to memorize the cards. And I thought, you know, I just have to memorize what each card represents and then I can read tarot. And what I found through tarot journaling is that actually, the more I sat with the cards and observed them and wrote about them and contemplated them, the more of a personal relationship I started to develop with my cards. And I started to really connect them and see myself in the cards. And that really changed how I read tarot. And suddenly I was like, oh, now I actually understand what these cards are about. It's not like the cards are just these objects that I have to memorize that are separate from myself. I actually saw like my life in the cards and how I was connected to the cards. So for example, I started to, I'm struggling with how to explain this exactly. I'll just tell you one of my favorite exercises to do with the cards is to choose some of the cards that you really, really like and choose some cards that you really don't like. And a really fun journaling thing to do is write about each card and about how this card might be like you. So for example, like the Queen of Swords, you know, read about the Queen of Swords and then write about, you know, how you're like the Queen of Swords. Choose a card that you really don't like, maybe the Tower, and write about, you know, all the Tower moments in your life and how you navigated those. And it really starts to make your relationship to the cards personal, and it shifts things. It makes you a better reader for sure. Okay, so there's lots of comments in the chat, so I'm just gonna have a look here. All right. Yeah, lots of people are saying it's humid where they are. It's really humid here, and I don't like the humidity. I find it really oppressive. and no breeze. Like it's humid and there's like no breeze. It's brutal. All right. Jessica says, can you please share your story of how you came out of the closet as a tarot reader and how it went? So I never really had to come out of the closet as a tarot reader. When I first discovered tarot, I was really intrigued by it, and I started reading lots of books on it and getting lots of decks and giving my friends and family readings. And I guess I was just always public about my interest in tarot right from the beginning. So I never practiced tarot in secret. And the reason for that is that I never felt that I had to. My friends and family were all very supportive. I'm lucky to live in a place where I don't come across too many people who have a negative reaction to tarot. And I know that is really dependent on kind of where you live in the world and your social circle. But I didn't really encounter people that had a problem with tarot. So I just never felt the need to hide it. So I don't really have an exciting coming out of the closet as a tarot reader kind of story for you. Yeah, but that's a really good question. Thank you, Jessica. Okay. Do you know when an upright card is actually its reversed meaning? Yeah, so I don't read reversals. I find reading reversals to be kind of an unnecessary extra step, and I don't like doing it. I know tons of readers who love reading with reversals, so it's really just kind of a matter of what your personal preference is. But because I read the cards upright all the time, there are some instances where, like for example, the Sun is a very positive card, but if it shows up in like a negative kind of position in a spread, like let's say there's a position that's like what you need to release or let go of, and you get the Sun, then I kind of have to read the Sun in maybe a slightly darker way, like the reversed way, than I normally would. So I think, how do you know when an upright card is actually its reverse meaning? It would depend on what position it appears in a spread. And I think also kind of go with your instincts as well. Like it would depend on who you're reading for, what the question is, what some of the other cards are. And sometimes like I'll be reading for someone and I'll start reading a card, and then partway through I'm like, this just doesn't fit. This doesn't feel right. And then I'll look at the card for a moment, and then I'll see another interpretation of that card. And as I start to talk about that, I'm like, oh yeah, this is the right interpretation. So sometimes you have to kind of go with your intuition and your gut feeling. How do you know when to do a tarot story reading as opposed to doing just a reading? In one of your videos, you talked about tarot stories. Okay. I think you're referring to like storytelling with the tarot, where you sort of like weave a story out of the cards. And I think that there's some readings that just really lend themselves well to doing this, and other readings don't. So sometimes it's easy for me when I'm reading for someone and I have all the cards laid out, and I start to see connections between the cards, and I start to see a story unfold. And other times that doesn't happen. Other times I spend a lot of time reading each card individually, and maybe I connect some of the cards, but a coherent story maybe never really comes forth. And so again, and this is, I guess, kind of a cop-out way to answer this question, but again, you kind of have to go with your instincts. And there's just some combinations of cards that just, the story jumps out at you and it's so obvious. And then there's other times that you're kind of muddling your way through the reading and it's not as clear. Okay, this question's from Sophie. I still struggle with choosing which direction to take a reading in, as each card, whoops, the chat's moving as I'm trying to read it, sorry. Okay, Kate, I still struggle with choosing which direction to take a reading in, as each card reading has so many possibilities. Any tips? Could you maybe pick a card for me about this too? Okay, yeah, because each card, there's multiple ways you could read a card. And of course, that's dependent on the spread you're using, the person you're reading for, the question. And it's tricky to know, okay, what direction am I going to take it in? And I hate to say this, but this is kind of where your intuition kicks in as to what direction you're going to take the reading in. I'll draw a card for you. I'll see what the tarot has to say about this, Sophie. Okay, so I'm going to be using the Everyday Witch Tarot today. Okay, and the card you got is the Eight of Cups. Eight of Cups. Okay. Okay, so the Eight of Cups is about leaving something behind and going off in a different direction. So I like how your question was, what direction should I take things in? I think leave behind, go with the most simple, straightforward explanation. Go in the direction that feels lighter to you, if that makes sense. So there will be certain ways to read a card that might feel cluttered and convoluted and heavy and confusing. And there may be another way that feels a little bit lighter and more simple. The sense that I'm getting is go with the more simple explanation as opposed to the most convoluted and complicated. Keep things as simple as you can. I don't know if that made sense. Oh, this is so good to hear. Simply Lily says, I've been journaling along with your tarot quick sheet and I'm discovering my love for tarot again. Oh, that's so good to hear. Thank you. Okay. Um, what is the time horizon in a reading, in your opinion? As in, how long is a timeline in a reading, and how long should one wait to ask the same question again? Okay, good question. Um, I think it depends on the reading. So if you're just doing a quickie 3-card spread on an issue, I mean, it really does. It depends on what intention you set for the reading. So like if I'm doing a birthday spread, for example, or a New Year's spread, I'm kind of assuming and kind of setting the intention that this reading be relevant for the next, year, roughly. But if you're reading about a specific issue, I think a lot of this boils down to what kind of an intention you set too before the reading. Like, do you want to look into this issue as a long-term thing, as a short-term thing? The thing is, and I think that this often will apply to predictive readings. You're wondering, if I do a reading and make certain predictions, how long does that reading hold weight? And I think because the future isn't set in stone, and because the future is always going to be changing based on what's happening in the present, this is a hard question. This is a tricky question to answer for sure. But I think it depends on the spread you're using, the intention that you set before the reading, and the kind of issue that you're reading about. But how long should one wait to ask the same question again? This really depends on the question, I think. I I recently did a reading for myself where I asked the same question 4 times over the course of a month. So every week I was asking the same question. Yeah, I guess a rule of thumb would be to at least wait, I think, a month to ask the same question again, depending on the question. Because like I said, I ask the same question week after week. Do you find it hard to read for yourself? Do your emotions take over sometimes and want to read something the way you want to see it, opposed to what it's actually trying to say? Yeah, absolutely. I think that's probably the biggest hurdle with reading for myself is that that it's so close to home, right? It's very hard to be totally objective when you're doing a reading for yourself. So there's a few ways around that. So having someone else read for you is one way a lot of readers, especially if it's a topic that's really emotional for you, because there's a lot of topics that I have no problem giving myself a reading and I don't feel like I see what I want to see, or I don't feel like I'm particularly biased. But if it's something that's near and dear to my heart, or something that I'm really emotionally charged up about, then it's trickier to stand back and get that perspective. So one really cool thing that I did once or twice, and I found it quite effective, is I did a reading for myself, but I pretended that I was reading for someone else, and I recorded myself verbally, doing the reading. And I pretended I was reading for a completely different person. And then I listened to that reading, and that allowed me to be a little bit more objective. Another thing that I find is good, if there's a topic that I'm really charged up about, and I don't think that I'm going to be able to be unbiased in my reading, is I'll do tarot journaling. So tarot journaling is, I actually prefer to use tarot journaling to work through, I almost prefer tarot journaling to doing a traditional type reading for myself, because I find that I get more out of it. I get more insights from doing it that way. So for example, what I would do, because this happened to me, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, there was something that I was really, really charged up about. And I asked my deck of tarot cards, I'm like, what advice do you have for me? And I drew one card, and I sat with that card and I wrote about it, what I thought that card was saying to me. And I found just sort of sticking with one card is really good if you feel overwhelmed or if it's a topic that you're really charged up about. Less cards is better than more cards, because the more cards you pull, the more confused you're going to get. So stick to just, one or two or maybe three cards tops. And I found that to be really, really helpful. Okay. Michelle says, I like clarifiers and I read only upright. Do you as well? Yeah, I only read upright as well. I don't do reversals. I don't often pull clarifying cards. I do sometimes. I try to not pull clarifying cards because sometimes I feel like pulling extra cards only adds more complexity to a reading. But once in a while, it's unavoidable and you just have to do a clarifier. Do you include elemental readings in your reading, such as cups? Not going well with wands. No, I don't really. I pay attention to, so just to explain your question for those who might not know what you mean by elemental readings. So each suit in the tarot corresponds to an element. So the suit of pentacles corresponds to earth, wands to fire, swords to air, and cups to water. So what I do is I look in a spread to see, is there a predominance of one suit? Is it mostly swords or mostly pentacles? Or is there a suit that's completely absent from this reading? So I do kind of pay attention to that for sure. But I've never actually thought of like wands not going with cups or anything like that. Yes. Okay. I like what Sophie said here. So Sophie, you were the one who asked for a reading about not being confused about what direction to take your readings in. You said that what you got from the Eight of Cups is don't be afraid to change tack and take a reading down a different path if it feels more right. I like that. Yes. Okay. So Blossoming Yana, thank you. Hello, I'm new to tarot. I have a question. When you're reading for others, is it best to first channel cards alone before bringing that person's energy in? Okay. When you're reading for others, is it best to first channel the cards alone before bringing that person's energy in? So yeah, what I do when I'm sitting down to give someone a reading, and the way that I do most of my readings is I do distant readings. So I don't have the person physically sitting in front of me. So I'm by myself, and I do give myself, a good 5 minutes or so to just sit with the cards and do some breathing and meditate. And I try to center my energy and connect with the person that I'm going to be reading for. So I set that intention. I set the intention to connect with my heart space, connect with my higher self and my intuition, and then to also connect with the heart, soul, intuition, higher self of the person that I'm reading for. And then I just sit until I feel like that connection is made. And how I know that connection is made is if I start to feel like tingling at the top of my head, or sometimes I get a warm glow feeling in the palms of my hands. It's a little bit different each time, but once I feel the energy kind of moving, then I know I've made that connection. So I don't know if that was exactly your question. Let me know if I misunderstood. But I think that's what you were asking. So yeah, you wanna first sort of connect with your own energy first before you connect with that other person's energy, for sure. Okay, so I'll do a couple more questions here, and then if anyone would like a one-card reading, let me know. And if you have a question you want to ask the cards, you can let me know. Or if you just want me to pull a card for you, give you a general reading, I'd be more than happy to do that as well. Okay. Do you still use the Crystal Visions Tarot? I do. I used it the other day, actually. Yeah, that's interesting. So Michelle, you said you get your hair standing up when you connect to someone's energy, and you usually feel it on the left side. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So Richard, you say that you're totally new to tarot. Can you run me through how it works? I heard you talking a lot about energy, but I don't quite understand. So I suggest, Richard, to check out my website, dailytarotgirl.com. There's lots of good tarot learning resources for you there. Tarot is such a big thing. I don't think I can run down how it works in a nutshell. So I do suggest that you check out my website, and it will kind of give you a sense of things. Okay, so Lisa says, I'm trying to be more confident in myself and the reading. Do you have any advice on steps I should take to get centered before I begin a reading? Yes. Okay, so I kind of did just talk about it a little bit there when I talked about my own process for getting centered. So I have a whole kind of ritual I do before I do a reading, and it helps me center my energy, and it helps with my confidence as well. And so I find having that ritual, having those steps, has helped me become more of a confident reader. So what I do is, and this is just my little ritual, you can do something totally different. It's not like these particular steps are the only steps you should do before a reading. So I like to start by burning some sage. So I have a big, huge, I think it's in the other room right now, but I have a big, huge sage bundle, and I light it and I waft the sage smoke around my reading space and kind of over my body. And then I put it out, and then I sit down with my cards. I take a few deep breaths, and I have a little thingy that I say in my head. So I say, I now connect to my heart space, the seat of my soul, my higher self, my intuition. And I also connect to the heart, soul, higher self of whoever it is I'm reading for, so that together we can deliver a reading that is both accurate and helpful and exactly what they need to hear at this time. And then I wait until I feel like tingling or warmth. There's some kind of energy in my body. And then I start the reading. And that in setting that intention has helped me with confidence, because I set the intention that I'm connecting to my intuition, I'm connecting with the person, and whatever cards come up, I will trust that those are the right cards, and that how I choose to read them in this moment is what that person needs to hear at this time. And that has helped me remove a lot of doubt, because before I would be like, oh, are these the right cards, or should I reshuffle and draw again? If I didn't like the cards, or I would think, am I interpreting that card correctly, or would there have been a better way to interpret it? And that doubt kind of gets in your mind and eats away at you. So doing that little ritual and that intention setting has really helped me improve my confidence with readings. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna pull a card for Sin E. Thank you, Sin E. You say, I want to know if so, when will my relationship with my daughter get better? Okay, so I'm gonna shuffle my cards. I'll tell you right off the bat, I'm not good with timing. I'm not good with predicting specific timelines. I find that really tricky to do. So you want to know if and when will your relationship with your daughter get better. So I'm going to draw a card I'll keep that question in mind, and I'm just going to see what the tarot has to say about that. Okay, so the card you got is 10 of Wands. Okay, and again, I'm using the Everyday Witch Tarot here. All right, so we've got the 10 of Wands. Okay, the 10 of Wands is a card of feeling stressed out, feeling like there's a lot that you're dealing with, and maybe feeling exhausted, maybe feeling kind of overwhelmed. And there's a part of you that feels that your relationship with your daughter feels like an uphill battle. Like it feels like the person in this card trudging uphill, holding all these broomsticks. And there's a part of you that maybe experiences your relationship that way, and that it sometimes feels like an uphill battle. So to answer your question, when will the relationship get better? I feel like when you start to let go of some of these broomsticks. So it's almost like you feel like you're responsible for things that you're not responsible for. And I'll just leave it at that. But it's almost like you feel like making this relationship work is all your responsibility, and it isn't. And I think that maybe letting go of certain expectations will be helpful for you. Letting go of expectations, letting go of the relationship, letting go of your need for the relationship to be a certain way or look a certain way. And it's almost like once you sort of let go of that, your daughter will sense it almost like energetically, will feel that pressure has been lifted. So I think letting go of expectations for sure is going to be helpful for you. And trying to be gentle on yourself and not trying to do all the work of making the relationship work. Yeah, I hope that makes sense for you. Okay. All right, so I'm going to give a reading to Yasim. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I would love a one-card reading. All right, so I shuffle my deck. So just a general reading. So Yasim, you got 10 of Cups, which is a really happy, uplifting card. I see the 10 of Cups as being a card of like dreams coming true and emotional fulfillment and finding satisfaction on an emotional and relationship kind of level. I find sometimes the 10 of Cups is a tricky card for me to read because it's just so positive. I feel like, well, it's just really good. So I think when the 10 of Cups comes up, it's a reminder that your dreams are within reach, particularly, and this doesn't really relate to like necessarily financial dreams or career dreams or those kinds of dreams, but dreams about what is possible in a relationship. So your relationship and love kind of ideals. And it's really just there to remind you that sometimes love and connection and emotional satisfaction is much closer than you think. And yeah, I think that's what I'll say about that. It's a lovely card to get. And I think it really shows that relationships are important to you right now. And that I think there's lots of opportunities for you to really enjoy those relationships and improve the relationships that you don't enjoy. Okay, so Blossoming Yana, I would love a one-card pull. I would love a one-card pull on my path. All right. So Blossoming Yana, you get 3 of Pentacles. All right. 3 of Pentacles is all about collaboration and working with others. And I often think of this as like a career kind of card. It's about sort of finding your calling and it asks you to pay attention to the things that when you're doing them, time just flies by. So we all have those things where when we're doing some sort of activity, I've had certain jobs like this. I feel this way about sketching and painting and drawing. When I'm doing it, time just flies by. I can start painting at, 10 o'clock at night, and then I look at my watch and I'm like, oh my God, it's 3 a.m. You want to pay attention to the kinds of things that are like that for you, because that's an indication of where you want to put your energy and time. But the Three of Pentacles, like I said, it's about collaboration. Don't be afraid to reach out to others. Don't be afraid to ask for others' advice or help. And don't be afraid to offer your own help and advice to others as well. Don't try to do everything on your own. Okay. Okay, Anna, you'd like a general reading and you're not in a super moment right now. Okay, thank you for that, Anna. Okay, so Anna, you get, Nine of Cups. Okay, nice. This is a good card. Nine of Cups, and I wish my camera would focus on the cards a little bit better. I feel like I have to hold them further back for you to see them. So the Nine of Cups is really encouraging you to detach in kind of a Zen-like way. So the woman on this card, I'm going to assume that she's built this sandcastle. She's put a lot of time and energy into building this sandcastle. And she's sitting there in this serene way with her eyes closed, facing the ocean as the tide comes in and it's about to destroy her castle that she's built. But she's not bothered by it. She's okay with it. And there's something really beautiful about this, about being able to just sort of accept yourself where you're at right now, and to know that there's things outside of your control that happen. And the more you can take a kind of a detached viewpoint, the happier you will be, the less stressed you'll be. And of course, that's much easier for me to say than it is to put into practice. But I think that maybe for you, incorporating certain meditation practices might be helpful, or simply just shifting your perspective a little bit, so that you're able to look at things with a slightly detached perspective. This isn't about closing yourself off emotionally. It's not about, being a sociopath and just not caring about anything. It's not that, but it's about, I guess, surrendering a little bit to life and what's happening, and letting go as much as you can for that need to control the outcome of things. This is also a positive card of trying to think how to describe it. This card can also represent feeling like really fulfilled as well, but I know that's not where you're at right now, so that's why I didn't read it in that way. So yeah, it's really advocating for you to take more of a detached kind of perspective and just like let go as much as you can. Oh, okay, Catherine, you want to know if you should start teaching yoga. Okay. You said you did your training for personal growth, but now you're wondering if you should teach. Okay, Catherine. So I'm going to draw a card for you. Six of Swords. All right. Okay, should you teach yoga? Six of Swords. Yeah. Let me tell you about the Six of Swords first, and then I'll see if we can answer your question, because I'm not 100% sure what this card's saying, but I think it's teaching yoga will be fine. Six of Swords is about change and transition and moving from one place to another place. And I think that teaching yoga will help you do that. I don't know if teaching yoga is necessarily the destination that you're going to end up at forever and ever, but I feel like teaching yoga will be part of your journey that will get you to the next step. So I do think it's a positive thing. Yeah, Six of Swords is about sort of like moving forward, change. I think also like, I feel like you maybe need to change a few things up in your life too, and that teaching yoga would be one of those ways that you can kind of create some change. Because it's almost like when you create a bit of change and do something different that you hadn't really planned on, you kind of shake up the energy a little bit, and that will allow for new things to come to you and new opportunities to present themselves. Okay. Noor, I would appreciate if you can pull a card for me too. Too many things happening at the moment, and I'm overwhelmed. All right. Okay, Noor, you get Knight of Swords. All right. So you've got lots happening and you're kind of overwhelmed. So you got the Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords this is an intense character. And it's saying, you know, if you get really clear on what is important to you, the direction you want to go in, what your focus is, what your goals are, there will be no stopping you, and you'll be able to cut through a lot of that overwhelm. I think what's happening is you might not be totally clear about what you want to go for, what direction you're going in. And so you're getting distracted by all these different things happening. And even if, and I mean, I know I just talked about goals and all that, even if you're not really a goal-oriented person and your issue has nothing to do with goals, I think getting clear on what your values are and what's important to you will help you ground your energy. And that's going to help you deal with a lot of the overwhelm that's coming towards you. The Knight of Swords advocates taking an approach that is somewhat one-dimensional. So what I say about the Knight of Swords is that he's really good at putting blinders on and just going for what's important and tuning out all other distractions. And he is kind of an ungrounded character as well. He's a fast-moving, he's very motivated, he's very intense. There's a lot of intensity to him. So I don't know if that resonates for you, Noor. But yeah, you said you've got lots happening and you're kind of overwhelmed. And I think focusing on something is going to help you. It's going to help you tune out all those other things that are competing for your emotional energy and your attention. Okay, Evil Eye Fan says, I would also love, whoops. Oops, I totally, okay. I would also love a general reading. I'm just confused to what my soul deck is to use for others and myself. Thank you for giving your energy for free. And then I see down below you've asked another question. I want to know what my inner soul is like. Maybe it will give me the answer I'm looking for. Okay. So I don't think I can tell you what your inner soul is like with tarot cards. I feel like that's something for you to discover, but I'll pull a card for you and see what the tarot has to say. All right, so this one is for Evil Eye Fan, and you got Five of Pentacles. All right. Okay, Five of Pentacles is interesting. There's a part of you that feels like you're on the outside looking in sometimes. So there's a part of you that feels like the party is happening over here and you're over here and you're not part of the party. And sometimes it can feel, and you may even feel this sort of a disconnect to yourself as well. Like, I think that's what this stems from. It stems from feeling somewhat disconnected. So the Five of Pentacles on one level is inviting you to connect with yourself more deeply. But it's also saying that that experience of feeling like you're on the outside looking in, or that experience of feeling like an outsider, is actually in some ways a blessing in disguise, in that it allows you to relate to a lot of people. It allows you, and I don't know what you do for work or anything like that, but if you work with people, if you're like a counselor, a teacher, or a nurse or something like that, anything where you're working with people, having that experience of knowing what it feels like to be an outsider can be really valuable and can help you relate to people. I'm really drawn to the symbol of the lantern in this card. So there's a woman holding up a lantern, and that is kind of like showing her the way. And that it reminds me of the hermit holding up a lantern. And to me, that lantern represents your inner self, which I would say, even if you hadn't brought up that term inner self, by the way, or inner soul, I feel like that lantern is that light of consciousness, of awareness. And it's like that is helping you sort of see your way through the night. So I think that's a really beautiful symbol. All right, so I hope that made sense. Okay, Nicole Mezzatasta would love a 1-card pull. Okay, so let me shuffle my deck again. All right, Nicole. The card I got for you is 7 of Swords. Okay. 7 of Swords used to be one of those cards that I didn't like getting, and now I love it, especially with this deck. I really like this card. All right, so Nicole, 7 of Swords is saying, stop walking on eggshells. Stop tiptoeing around. There's a part of you that really wants to come forth and be authentic and free. And then there's a part of you that's like, but you might upset people. Like this might rock the boat too much. So the 7 of Swords is encouraging you to be more authentic. And you can start with, so if the idea of just being authentic and out there feels scary to you, start with the relationship that you have with yourself and start being really honest with yourself about what you truly want, what is truly important to you. Even if you're not ready to act on it yet, the first step is admitting to yourself what you're really wanting and what's really important to you. So that's what I'm getting with the 7 of Swords. Okay, Lisa Blanton. Lisa, did I read for you before? I'm not sure. Okay, I'll pull a card for Lisa, and then I'm going to pull a card for... Ooh, there's 69 people here. Okay, I'll pull a card for Lisa, and then I'll do one for... I think, Catherine, you want a reading. Thank you, by the way, Catherine. Let me know if you have a question. And then I'll do a reading for Blessed One. I'll do a reading for Blessed One after that. Okay, so Lisa Blanton. And Lisa, I don't know if you had a question. I'm just scrolling to see. Lisa, you're talking about coloring. Yeah, I used to do lives where we would do coloring together. That was really fun. Oh, you just want a general reading. Okay, perfect. Okay. So let me just shuffle my deck. Okay, I got the Queen of Pentacles. Beautiful. So really pretty card. I feel like you are in a place right now where, well, let me talk a little bit about what the Queen represents, because I feel like in a lot of ways she represents you right now, but I feel like she's also giving you advice as to how to really maximize your potential and how to really be in the world. So the Queen of Pentacles is very grounded. She's very down to earth. And she's telling you that the more grounded your energy becomes, the more you can connect to the earth, the more time you spend out in nature, the more grounded your energy is, it's like the more you can grow upward and blossom, like a tree that puts down roots. A tree that has roots that go far into the ground is able to grow up nice and tall and will withstand, all the wind storms. So that's one thing I get with this card. Also, her broom that's right next to her. That broom to me represents being able to clear clutter from your life. So this is energetic clutter, physical clutter. She's saying, clean up your space. Clean up your space, get rid of the clutter, and things will start smoothing or start running more smoothly once you do that. There's a big bucket of money next to her, which is really cool. So I do feel like she represents prosperity. And I think grounding your energy, cleaning your space, getting rid of clutter is going to help you feel more financially secure and just help things flow better in your life. Okay, so next I'm going to do a reading for Catherine. And Catherine, I'm not sure if you had a question. I'm just going to scroll down and see if you asked one. Okay, Catherine, did I already read for you? Yes, I did. Okay, I apologize. I did. You asked the question about yoga. Okay, so I won't do one for Catherine. I already read for her. I will do a reading for Blessed One. All right, so Blessed One says, how can I continue to focus and come into my open up to? How can I continue to focus and come into my open up to? I don't know what that means. 3-card reading, being okay with myself. So Blessed One, if you want to just clarify what your question is, because I don't really understand what you're asking. So I want to make sure I get it right before I draw a card for you. All right. Okay, Jen Jones. My workplace situation is bad due to the pandemic. People at my work aren't taking it seriously and it's causing friction. Will it improve? Okay, let's see. So what does the tarot have to say about you and your work situation? I feel like the cards aren't really going to say whether or not it improves. I think they're going to tell you what you can do in this situation. Oh, Knight of Swords again. Okay. So Knight of Swords is saying, be, I don't want to say this card is advising you to be aggressive, but to be assertive and stand up for yourself where, health and safety are concerned. And to do what, and you're not going to be able to control what others do very well, but you can always protect yourself as much as you can. So it's advocating for that, but it's also saying, don't be afraid to be assertive, because there might be a part of you that's like, oh, things at work are already chaotic and bad, so I don't want to rock the boat too much or be assertive. And the Knight of Swords is saying it's okay to be assertive in, a positive way, not necessarily a rude or aggressive way, but in an assertive way to take care of yourself. I also feel like this card, there's two things here. So the Knight of Swords is flying and he's above this landscape. So he has perspective. He's up above everything and he can look down and see things. I feel like this card is encouraging you as much as you can to step back from things a little bit and get some perspective. Because right now you're in that situation. It doesn't feel good. It's, how did you describe it? I think you just said it's bad situation. And so the Knight of Swords is saying, take a step back and get some perspective, but don't sacrifice what is important to you and what your needs are as well. I don't think, just from this card, I don't think that it's going to get better anytime soon. I think it's probably the issues that are happening now will continue for a little while. So rather than trying to change your workplace, it's easier at this point to change yourself, to change your own perspective or your own behavior to protect yourself. Okay. All right. So Blessed One says, making space for partnership and having an empty nest, kind of. Okay. So your question, let me just amalgamate the first one. How can I continue to focus and come into my open up to? Okay, so I'm getting the sense you wanna make space for partnership. How can you do that? All right. Okay, so the card you got is Five of Pentacles. Interesting. We're getting some double cards coming up twice. Okay, Five of Pentacles. Oh, this is a really interesting card to get when you're asking about relationship and opening up to a partnership. I feel like it's almost because, So when I first read this card, I talked about how it kind of represents feeling like an outsider, feeling like you're on the outside looking in. And what I'm actually, and again, and I think of the Hermit when I see this card and how she's holding the lantern up. And I feel like getting comfortable being alone and really nurturing that relationship that you have with yourself is going to be a pivotal step in opening up to a relationship with someone else. I think there might be a part of you that's feeling kind of lonely and feeling like an outsider. And if you are broadcasting that outward, it's very unattractive. Maybe not to everyone, but but it's not the best state of mind to be in if you're trying to attract a relationship. So sitting with that feeling and asking yourself, what does it mean to be an outsider, to feel like an outsider? Where in my life have I felt this way? And where in my life have I not felt this way? Have I felt the opposite? How do you feel right now? How would you like to feel? Just kind of exploring some of these questions and asking yourself, what can I do to really nurture the relationship I have with myself? What can I do to really be comfortable, not just being comfortable being alone, but actually really enjoy your own company? It's like once you enjoy your own company, suddenly that feeling of being an outsider and not being accepted starts to kind of disintegrate a little bit. And I think that's very attractive. People who are okay with their own company are very attractive people. So I think that's what I'm getting from the Five of Pentacles. Okay, Pseudo Elegance. Thank you, Pseudo Elegance. So Pseudo Elegance says, hi, I want to know about my current health. Okay, I want to know about my current health. So I'm just going to shuffle my deck. Obviously I'm not going to do like health advice or anything like that. I don't feel comfortable giving health advice. I don't think that's really necessarily what you're asking. I'm just going to keep your question in my mind, and I'm going to draw a card and see what message the cards have for you. Okay, and it looks like you said I'm freaking out and I'm fearing the worst. Okay. All right. So the card you got is King of Wands. And King of Wands is a good card. So it's a lovely card to get. And I'll tell you a little bit about what the King of Wands represents, and then I'll connect it to your question. So the King of Wands is a court card. He's a king, so he's the confident sort of masculine embodiment of the suit of wands. And the suit of wands is all about energy and creativity. So this king knows how to direct his energy. He knows what to focus on, how to focus his energy, how to tune out things that will drain his energy. He's got that all figured out. He's also very creative and dynamic. He knows how to make a plan and how to be creative. And here we see him with a map. There's a map on the wall, and it's like he's teaching his cat something or explaining something to his cat and saying, okay, now we're going to go here and then we're going to go here. It's like he's planning something out. There's also some paper here and a feather pen. So the advice I'm getting from this card is to, and I know not everyone likes journaling and writing, but if you do like journaling and writing, it's saying, write about your fears. You're concerned right now about your health. So, you know, and obviously, like, I'm assuming that you're seeing a doctor, that you're getting, you know, medical attention for whatever issue you're having. But in order to look after your own sort of stressful feelings about this, try writing. I find writing can be a great way to process things, to get insights, and to calm myself down, even if it's writing affirmations. So you can think about, you know, what kind of an affirmation would feel calming to you right now, and writing that down a few times until you start to feel yourself calming down. I find there's something about the act of putting pen to paper. So don't do this on a computer or a laptop, but like actually get a notebook and a pen and do some journaling about this. I think that's going to help you sort of get some perspective. And, you know, unless you really hate journaling and writing, because there are some people who feel like writing just intensifies feelings of anxiety. If that's been your experience, then you can disregard what I just said. But the other thing I get with this card is the king is making a plan. He's looking at a map. He's got the blank pieces of paper. The blank pieces of paper, by the way, I feel like he hasn't made the plan yet. He's just getting started. So I feel like you need more information about your health, because you said you're really freaking out and fearing the worst. So I don't know if you've just had a diagnosis or you're having symptoms or what's going on, but you need to get more information first. And I think once you are able to see the big picture and make a plan for yourself, you're going to feel calmer and have more of a sense of direction, if that makes sense. So I hope that was helpful. I hope that resonated. My next reading is going to be for, and actually this is a good opportunity because I did a whole blog post and a video on this topic about health readings, doing health readings for myself, because a few years ago I had a major health issue. I had fibroids, uterine fibroids, and it was causing me a lot of really horrible symptoms, and I had to get surgery for them. And I remember being really, really stressed out about this health issue. And I knew that if I did a tarot reading where I asked, you know, what's going to happen or whatever, I know that I wouldn't be able to be unbiased and do that reading for myself. So instead, what I did is I did a reading for myself, but I asked, how can I feel calmer about this situation? And because I think I'd just gotten a diagnosis, and the diagnosis I'd gotten was really, really dire. And it turned out to be okay. But at that time, I got this like bad diagnosis. And so I asked my cards, what can I do to feel better and calmer about this situation? And then I drew a couple cards and I journaled about it. And I got so much just from and I think I just drew one, maybe two cards. And just from that, I got so many insights just from journaling and writing about it, that I instantly felt calmer about the whole thing. So it was actually really helpful. Whereas if I'd done a reading and asked, what's going to be the outcome of this? For one, I wouldn't have been able to be unbiased. I wouldn't have been able to, I would have been highly stressed out while I was doing that reading. So asking your cards, what do I need to know, or what do I need to do right now to just calm myself down, can be really helpful. All right. All right, Zainab. Thank you, Zainab. Okay, so you want to know about getting a job soon and a love relationship. Okay. All right, so I'll draw a card for your job situation. Well, actually, I'll just start with one card, see what card you get. All right, Nine of Swords. Nine of Swords is saying that you're ready to change your relationship to your thoughts. You're ready to change the way that you think, particularly where anxiety is concerned. So Nine of Swords can come up if you're prone to going into negative thought spirals, and if you're prone to kind of fearing the worst or feeling kind of pessimistic about things. And the Nine of Swords is encouraging you to not always believe the negative thoughts that your mind thinks. So being able to recognize when your mind is being overly pessimistic and kind of being able to like laugh at it a little bit and not take yourself too seriously. So just start to kind of question your own thoughts, particularly like where negativity is concerned. So questioning like your negative thoughts about things. That's going to allow you to not just shift to a more positive mindset, but it's going to allow you to kind of step out of the grip of your mind a little bit, and it's going to allow for more freedom and peace, more peace of mind. So I'm going to draw you another card because I feel like that didn't really answer your question, but I feel like when you do this, so the more you sort of step out of anxious thinking and get to a more positive, kind of peaceful way of seeing things, that's going to open up certain possibilities for you when it comes to, you know, your job situation and your love relationship. I'm going to draw one more card. The other card you got is the Ace of Cups. Really good one. Really good card to get here, especially when you ask about a love relationship. And you didn't say, you just says you want to know about getting a job soon and love relationship. So I don't know if you're in a relationship now or if you're single and wanting a relationship. The Ace of Cups says that when you're in your heart, I feel like this card is encouraging you to connect more with your heart. When you're in your heart, you are sort of radiating love vibes. You know, you're existing in a different kind of energetic state than when you're, say, stuck up in your head. So getting into your heart, there's many different ways you can do it, but I like to kind of just sit quietly. Sometimes I'll put my hands on my heart. I'll breathe into my heart space, and I'll just sort of like put my attention on this area. And then if you think loving thoughts, that's one like instant way to get into your heart. Just focusing on your breath, focusing on those loving thoughts, that's a really direct way to get into your heart. Working with certain crystals like rose quartz and stuff like that can be helpful as well. But there's something that happens when you allow your center of consciousness to go from your mind down into your heart. There's something that happens. It's almost like you're entering another dimension. And it's like you can see things that you didn't see before. You're open to things that you maybe weren't open to before. And it's almost like you get this very different perspective where you see the connections between things. So the Ace of Cups is kind of encouraging you to get into your heart, get out of your head, get into your heart, especially where love is concerned. And part of you, I feel like you're maybe in your head about the love thing, like you're trying to be practical and rational about finding the right person. And it's saying, you know, really get into your heart. The Ace of Cups is also a card of, you know, not being afraid of your emotions and letting them flow. Don't stop certain emotions. Don't block them. Really kind of let them be there. Accept your feelings as they are. Let them flow. The Ace of Cups also signifies a new beginning, particularly in the area of relationships. So it's a really beautiful card to get. Okay, I'm going to do a one card reading for... Oh, I'll just answer a couple questions here. Pseudo Elegance says, are you currently doing full readings? I'm not currently. I did very briefly this summer, and I just offered them to people I read for in the past, just because last summer I got slammed with a lot of readings, and it was hard to get them all done in the small time that I had to do them. So this year I did do readings, but I'm not currently doing them. I might offer them a little bit later this summer. I'm just going to see. I've got lots of plans this summer, so I'm just waiting to see how things go. Okay, I'm going to do a reading for I'm not sure how to. Oh, Kristen from Norway. Thank you so much, Kristen. Thank you, Kristen. You would love a little reading. Love your work and your YouTube channel. Thank you. All right. Okay, Kristen. So I'm going to shuffle my cards for you. Okay, Kristen. So the card for you is Nine of Wands. Okay. Nine of Wands is saying, don't let the past dictate the future, or don't let the past color your expectations for the future. It's also saying there's a difference between boundaries and walls. So you want to have healthy boundaries. You want to protect yourself. You want to stand your ground and stand up for yourself. But you don't want to be super defensive. You don't want to put up walls that just keep people out. So there's a difference between those two things. And I guess what I'm getting here is this card is saying, if you get defensive and put up walls, you're going to burn yourself out. And there's a part of you maybe that is kind of gun shy, kind of a little bit raw from maybe things that have happened in the past, and you're now worried those things might happen in the future. So you kind of put up walls to protect yourself. And I don't know if this is in regards to love or just life in general or something else. But the card seems to be saying, take care of yourself, like really give yourself some good self-care, some love. You need to rest. I think that's what I'm getting from this, is that you're feeling really burnt out. I think you need a little bit of a rest. You need to rejuvenate your energy, because when you're coming from a place of feeling exhausted and kind of beaten down by things, it's very easy to want to build walls and just keep people out. And so the Nine of Wands is saying, take care of yourself. Don't let yourself burn out, and definitely look into getting good at setting boundaries in a healthy, kind of flexible way, as opposed to putting up walls. Something else I want to say about this card is, no, I think I said it all. I do notice like she's got armor on, and that's kind of feeling like you need to sort of protect yourself. The bandage on her head to me can symbolize sort of feeling wounded in some way, feeling like you need to protect yourself. And so I feel like with this card, I just want to give you a big hug. And I feel like this card is saying, be gentle on yourself, be easy on yourself. And it almost feels like you might need a little bit of a break, a little bit of a vacation, to just sort of get away and to be able to relax and just let your guard down. It feels like that's what you need to do, is to just sort of relax for a little bit, so that then you can rebuild healthy boundaries. So I hope that makes sense, Kristen. If not, let me know. All right. Okay, so let's see. I'll do a reading for Claire. Claire, you said you're not having a good day. Can you do a love card? It has to do with that. Okay. Okay, let's just shuffle the deck. Okay, Claire, you got the Tower. Okay, so the Tower is a pretty intense card. The Tower will come up when you are really ready for some kind of change. And the thing with the Tower is it can represent, so there's the change that we create on our own at our own pace. And then there's the change that happens to us, maybe even against our will. Like it's just change that happens that we have no control over. And the Tower tends to represent the change that just sort of happens without us doing anything. But it also represents what we do with that situation. And so there's this opportunity with the Tower. There's always an opportunity for more freedom. And it's an opportunity for you to ask yourself, what, so this is a love reading for you. So I'm assuming you're in a relationship. It's saying, this is an opportunity, the situation that you're in is an opportunity to create change. Now that might be creating big changes within the relationship, or it could mean ending the relationship. So either one of those. It's an opportunity for change. It's also an opportunity for more freedom. It's an opportunity to rebuild something from the ground up, whether you're rebuilding the relationship itself or rebuilding your life without that relationship. It could go either way. But the Tower will only come up for someone, and I know this probably isn't the card that you wanted, but the Tower will only come up for you if you're really ready for big change, if you're really ready for more freedom, and if you're ready to sort of look at those tough issues and rebuild things from the ground up. What I like about this card is that the witch on the card is kind of smirking, and I see this witch as representing you, and the Tower in the background is smoldering, but she's smirking because she kind of caused this Tower to crumble. She kind of created it. And I think sometimes in some ways we may subconsciously create things. And I'm not saying that that's what's necessarily happening in your own situation, but this is just an interesting detail I noticed on the Tower, is that I think sometimes subconsciously, I can think of a lot of times in my own life that I've subconsciously caused the destruction of something in my life because I was ready to move on from it, but I just couldn't quite face it at that time. So there is this sense of power really in this card, and it's really kind of what you do with the changes and what you do with that opportunity for more freedom. So you are in a difficult place. You're in an intense place right now, for sure. So I don't envy you, but this is also kind of a powerful moment for you where you do have that choice to step into your power and use it if you want to. So thank you, Claire. And let me know if you have any questions about that card. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple more readings. And of course, if anyone has any questions about tarot card reading, learning tarot, please feel free to ask. Okay, so Kristen, you said, oh, good. So true. You're absolutely correct. Walls are up. Yes, I need to relax. Thanks for the hug. Oh, good. Okay, I'm glad that resonated for you. I have to admit, even though I've been reading for a long time and I have a lot of confidence with reading, it is sometimes when you get specific messages from cards, I'm always like, I hope this makes sense. Because it is always kind of funny when I'm giving these readings, I'm like, well, I hope this isn't totally out of left field. Okay, so Joss, I like what you said here. Ooh, I would totally love a card. I'm just generally stressed about work and school and people, I guess. Lost a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to reshuffle my cards. All right, so what card does Joss need to see right now? The Star. Oh, I love it. Okay. The Star says everything's going to be okay. Especially if you kind of let go and surrender. So you said that, you're stressed out, work, school, people, all that stuff. And the Star is saying part of the reason that you're stressed is because you want things to go a certain way and you're trying to make things happen a certain way. And the stress comes from thinking it might not work out this way, but I'm going to try. And so the Star is saying, just if you can kind of adopt the idea that the universe has a plan and that whatever happens, however things unfold, is the way that they need to unfold. And this is different from thinking that everything is going to work in my favor, because of course, anyone who's been on this planet longer than, a few years will know that things don't always work out in your favor and shitty stuff happens. But if you feel that things, and I hate that saying things happen for a reason, because I don't really think that's true, but things that happen, and the way things unfold is the way that perhaps they were meant to unfold. And the more you can accept that, the more Zen-like and relaxed you can be. And the Star is really saying, take a chill pill. Just take a chill pill, relax. It is going to be fine. And you don't really stressing at this point is a choice, and you don't have to be stressed. The Star is saying, make sure you're getting enough sleep. I get the sense that you're not sleeping well or getting enough sleep, and that is further contributing to your stress levels. So making sure you're getting adequate sleep. The Star also advocates for reigniting or developing a relationship with the bigger planetary world. So once you feel like you have a place in this universe, that you are part of this universe, and when you look up at the night sky, that isn't just something that's out there and you're here, like you're part of it. We're all intimately connected that way. And I think when you look at the night sky and you feel that connection, it allows you to put things in perspective and to just kind of chill out a little bit. So maybe also look up at the stars if you can. I know most of us live in cities or towns that have a lot of light pollution, and it's pretty frustrating not being able to see the stars. But yeah, okay. All right, Laura S. Oh, thank you, Laura. Okay, Laura. Oh, thank you for being here. Okay, Laura, I didn't see any question from you, but I'm gonna draw a card for you. Okay, Laura. So the Sun. Oh, lovely. Okay. That's interesting. We got the Star. Well, we got the Tower, then we got the Star, and then we got the Sun. And that's not in order, is it? I'm trying to think now. I don't think it is. That's really neat. Okay, so the Sun is one of my favorite cards. This is just such an overwhelmingly uplifting, positive card. And I always feel like there's not a lot to say about the Sun. Like, I feel like it just speaks for itself. It's just so uplifting and good. It encourages you to be playful. It encourages you to play more and to look on the bright side and laugh. There's something that happens when we laugh, even if we're laughing at a really dark joke. I tend to have a really dark sense of humor. And so I laugh the hardest at some pretty dark jokes. But when we laugh, we change our vibration. We become very uplifted. And laughter is such a powerful way to move energy through the body. And Yeah, the sun is really encouraging you to play more, Laura, to laugh at things, and to take more of an optimistic approach, even if that optimistic approach feels childlike and naive. Take it anyway, because when you have that optimistic outlook, you see things and you notice things that you wouldn't if you had more of a pessimistic outlook. So having that optimism and that sunshiny attitude will open doors for you in all kinds of places. Okay, so we're almost at the 1:30 mark, and I have to feed my cat pretty soon. So I'm gonna do one more reading. Okay, let's see. One last reading. Okay. Someone said, okay, so I'm going to do my last reading for Natasha. Okay, so last reading, Natasha, thank you. I'm curious about any advice in love and also starting a business on my own. Okay. All right, Natasha. So you got 8 of Pentacles. Okay. Okay, this is a good card to get for the business question. 8 of Pentacles shows you learning something new and working hard at it and putting in the time, putting in the hours so that you can gain that sense of expertise. So thinking of starting a business on your own, I would say 8 of Pentacles says, yes, don't expect it to be easy. Expect to work hard and, expect to put in a lot of time and really kind of put your nose to the grindstone. I feel like with the business, though, it may require sort of mixing some of your talents. So I feel like whatever business you start, it won't just be like one specific thing. It's going to be kind of like an alchemy of all the different talents and skills that you have and knowledge that you've acquired over the years. Advice on love. Let's do another card for advice on love. Okay, 2 of Wands for love. So 2 of Wands is saying you're in a position right now in your life where it would really do you good to just pause. Pause for a moment. You don't need to rush into any relationships. You don't need to be out there trying to find love. And if you're already in a relationship, pause and contemplate what's important to you and where you want things to go. So, and you can think about your past and past relationships you've had, and you can think, okay, what worked, what didn't, what have I learned? Because all of that stuff in the past has brought you to where you are today. And you're going to be able to get some clarity on, what do you want? What do you not want? What are your values? What's important to you? What direction do you want to go in when it comes to love? And it really pays to take your time here. You don't have to rush through this step. And if you need to focus on your business for a little bit, for a while before you focus on love, that's fine too. Yeah, so that's the advice the cards have. Okay, so Star Lee says, what's the difference between the King and Queen court cards? How do you read them differently? This is a good question. So the King is the mature and powerful and masculine embodiment of the suit that he represents. The Queen is the mature, powerful, feminine representation of that suit. And so I tend to see, they're both leaders for sure, but I tend to see queens as being better at being teachers and they have more of a nurturing and more of a receptive energy, whereas the masculine, the King has more of like an active leadership, active, action-oriented kind of energy. So for example, let's take the suit of the suit of Pentacles. So you have King of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles. With the King of Pentacles, well, let's talk about the Queen because I like that card more. So the Queen of Pentacles, I like to emphasize how she's very grounded. I also emphasize that with the King of Pentacles. The Queen, I emphasize her ability to be nurturing and to this is gonna sound really sexist now, but I emphasize her ability to like cook good meals and be able to really take care of herself and take care of others in like a physical kind of way. Whereas the king, I think of him as being like really good at business. I mean, they're both good at business, really. I think of the Queen of Pentacles as being like a really good businesswoman who's really organized, down to earth, practical, knows how to take care of finances. But the king, I feel like he's also very good at those things as well. I feel like he has more bad qualities in that he can sometimes be like overly indulgent with food and booze and things like that. So I guess really what it comes down to is I think of the court cards as having certain personalities, and that kind of determines how I read them. But in a nutshell, the kings are kind of masculine and more outward focused and active. Queens are more feminine, inward focused, receptive, nurturing, kind of like that. That's how I think of it. Oh, and you actually asked about the Queen of Swords and the King of Swords. Okay. See if there's any other questions. Oh, Tammy, hey. Okay, I'll do one more reading for Tammy, and then I'm going to wrap things up. So before I wrap things up, I just want to, again, give my tarot journaling course a little bit of a plug. So I have a new course called Tarot Journaling for Soul Explorers. It's a really fun course, and it's designed to get you tarot journaling. I give you tons of journaling prompts and exercises, and I talk about, how you can use tarot journaling to learn more about your tarot deck, learn more about yourself, and how to create change in your life. So I'm going to put the link to my course in the chat here if you want to check it out. It's part of Tarot Summer School this year, so that's been super fun. All right, so I will pull one card for Tammy. So she says, "Hi, Kate. I don't know if you were almost done or not. I just got out of work and I love a reading from you. Anything you have for me, please and thank you." Okay, that's easy, Tammy. Just a general read. Okay, so Tammy, you got the High Priestess. Oh, this is a perfect card to end on. I love this card. Okay, so the High Priestess, very powerful card. And it encourages you to pay attention to things like, it encourages you to go inward. And there's a whole universe inside yourself that really wants to be explored. And the High Priestess is like the gatekeeper to that universe. And whenever I get the High Priestess, I think of things like tarot reading, crystal gazing, rune stones, dream interpretation, astral travel, meditation, all that fun stuff, hypnosis. It's about really exploring kind of the unseen worlds of spirit and energy, maybe even your subconscious mind. So really exciting card to get. And I often find it will come up to remind you that you are like the High Priestess in some way. You have an inner High Priestess. There's a part of you that is really good at connecting to these unseen worlds and exploring them. All right, so I'm just going to quickly see if there's any like tarot related questions here that I missed. I'm sure I did. I wasn't able to read all the comments, so I apologize to all of you who wanted a reading and I couldn't read for you. I'm sorry, but I will do one of these again, hopefully not too, hopefully soon. Yeah. Okay. So I just want to say thank you so much, everyone, for being here live with me. It's been such an honor and such a pleasure to read for you and to answer all your tarot questions. So thank you so much for being here, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your summer. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye bye.